Hi everyone, checking in for your astrotherapy update this week. Sorry it's a little late. I was quite sick Monday and Tuesday, which is interesting, right, that happened. And there was a bit of clearing, I guess you could say, in my physical space and immune system, right, as it relates to this eclipse. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like here shortly. But I want to start at the beginning of the week. So Monday, the moon was in Leo, right, which rules our heart center. It kind of brings forth what is in its joy. And it was making some sweet aspects to the placements that are in Aries. So Venus retrograde, as well as Mercury and Aries, and a trine with Jupiter in Gemini. So this was really a sweet space for reassessment for what lights up your heart center. What can you dip into on a frequency that truly brings you joy, and maybe step into this space of creativity or leadership there as well, right? It's asking for us to be courageous and make choices that allow for us to lead with the heart. So moving into Tuesday, we had Venus and Mercury conjunct in the sign of Aries. So Venus is retrograde right now, and Mercury is going retrograde on Saturday. So there's a lot of energy around, what maybe needs to shift in your physical environment. This could be related to finances. Maybe it's things and relationships, self-worth, right? Relationship to self. That you might need to reassess, right? Do you need to start that conversation and dynamic with yourself? Do you need to start that conversation and dynamic with somebody else? But with it, a goal to understand, right? This is just a period of trying to understand one another versus trying to come to a resolution, because honestly, the energy might not be great for that until next month, after both Mercury and Venus clear out of this retrograde energy. But this is certainly a time to understand and start to reassess. So can you step to these conversations with a little bit of compassion and without the lens of the instant gratification that Aries might want from it? Can you just step back in a space to understand? So on Wednesday and Thursday, we have a lot of energy happening with the Pisces and Virgo axis. So this is going to be an axis that revolves around service. And really, Virgo might really have high personal expectations, whereas Pisces is like, hey, soften up on yourself, right? That's the whole idea of life, is that we're perfectly imperfect and we learn as we go, because the sun in Pisces is going to be making a conjunction with Saturn in Pisces. So it wants a sense of emotional responsibility around how we're viewing ourselves. How are we looking at these things? And this might be a reassessment of emotional decluttering too, right? With these eclipse energies that are happening on Friday, it's all about emotional decluttering. What are you holding on to that might be holding you back from your purpose? And what are you fearing that might change, right? Are you fearing the uncertainty? Well, the Pisces energies are asking for us to lean into whatever it is that maybe we're afraid to let go of, right? So this is about shedding things that might be unconsciously holding us back from feeling fulfilled on a purposeful level, because the eclipse is going to be sitting with the South Node in Virgo around what we're letting go collectively around self-perfection, judgment, criticism, right? So there could be a lot of themes popping up around overwhelm, depression, exhaustion. And so, be careful with how you might be handling those frequencies. If you need to offer yourself a little bit of space to be soft and dip in and clear out, right? Reflect. This is a great time for reflection. Things might not necessarily shift at this time, but it's a great time for reflection around what might need to be reorganized in those higher Virgoan octaves. So I also wanted to talk about in the medical astrology space, right? The Virgo Pisces axis is going to rule the immune system, the lymph system. So this is a good time to really just take care of yourself, nourish your body. So, herbs that are good for the immune system, if you're feeling a little down and need a kickstart, echinacea or a little elderberry, maybe some tulsi, holy basil, as a sweet tonic. And then herbs to support the lymph system, maybe some burdock root or dandelion root that's relatively safe. Please always do your research before using any of these and get them from an ethically sourced space. But these can be really nice ways to connect, to ground down, to de-stress, and to take care of yourself. Maybe you even find a little bit of emotional rearranging that might happen through physically decluttering your space too. Maybe lean into a little bit of cleaning or reorganizing, restructuring of your physical space. Lean into what might need to be restructured within your routines, right? And with this eclipse, it's going to be supported by Uranus and Taurus, a trine with Uranus. And so that might be an unexpected breakthrough in the practical space. We have Aries energies at play this week, of course, that have a nice big influence with Mercury and then Venus in retrograde sitting right there. That could be a reassessment around our emotional ties to finances, right? Do you want to handle finances in a different way? Maybe do you need to restructure where you're using your resources? So if you can maybe lean back and give it a little bit of space to breathe, you may also want to look at the areas in your chart that these are happening, as that might give you a little bit of insight into where the bigger themes are in this eclipse, and where you can maybe start to look for things if you're just not sure. And then on Saturday, we have Mercury that goes into retrograde. So with that being said, this is it's going to add into that space of the Venus retrograde of reassessment, right? Can you slow down? See maybe what needs to be reassessed in the sense of self-worth, courage, self-confidence, self-esteem, finances even, right? Venus, relationships, but as it stands, those will move out of their retrograde space in April. So this is a great time to take in and digest and reflect on that information to try and understand how you might want to move forward with it in the April timeframe. Also, we'll have the moon that is in Libra Saturday and Sunday. It is squaring off a little with the Aries energy, so you might feel some conflict or tension between the self and the other, right? Well, I want to do this, but does that make me selfish, right? Maybe feeling a little bit of guilt or shame around these. But truth is, you can't fill from an empty cup. So are you operating in a way that are going to keep things in harmony and balance, and in a way that you feel like you can adequately continue to give, and you're not going to lead down the path of exhaustion and burnout? It's really about the octaves of perception and working with perception around guilt, around maybe others' choices and your choices and boundaries, and how you're going to work with them, right? Moving through that energy Wednesday to Friday. And the Virgo Pisces, it is about reassessing boundaries and setting healthy boundaries, knowing where your thresholds are. And then the Libra Aries energy are asking you to take into account, how do you want to work with those within yourself and with others and within your relationships? So I hope that this helps. Restorative practices are amazing. I'll have a restorative slow flow tonight and a full moon workshop on Sunday at the Collective, 5 to 6:30 in St. Pete, with restorative yoga and yoga nidra, along with some journaling that we'll do. So I really hope to see you guys there. I'll have links to sign up.